Welcome, everybody, to the show. We are coming to you live from Strongsville, Ohio, home of Winterfest and the national capital of nose hair. Joining me is our very special guest, Mr. Doug from The Tabletop's Edge, a fabulous YouTube channel that you should definitely be subscribed to. If you have not done so already, get on that and remedy that unfortunate situation.
Hey, folks.
This is Counter Clipping Show number 210. And we are coming to you live from the Winterfest event in Strongsville, Ohio. This is a new location. And no, we will not be restarting the computer right now. Thank you, Windows, for reminding us to do that. We're not going to have the on-screen, on the side of the screen comments tonight because I don't have that equipment with me. But otherwise, we're all good to go. I got this out. I actually don't need to do that this time because we don't have the side chat. So how's your Winterfest going so far?
Great. Yeah. Awesome.
Doug and I on opposite sides this time are playing GTS Utah Beach. And I think we are about to hit June 7th.
Yes.
Am I right?
Yep. We're wrapping up the end of the longest day, end of June 6th, night turn.
It's taken us a couple of days and we'll talk about that. And I'll have pictures, but we might not be seeing the pictures tonight because I actually haven't taken that many. I've been focusing on playing and talking to people and all that other stuff. So before we go any further, let's say hello to B. Goebel, Bandit, Brant from the Armchair Dragoons, Blue Steel, Board Gaming Geezer, Chet Bell, Christoph DeClerc, Danny Gable, Danny Seckery, Dave Poirier, DJ Flippy, Eric Goebel, Grunyard Rich, Henry Hartman, the legend himself, Fucko, is tuning in from the safety and security of his hotel room. Jay Dosty, welcome back to the show. Jeff Anderson, Jeff Beeler, Jeffrey Wesovich, Joe Faust from sunny Northeast Ohio. Joe, why are you not here? We are in Strongsville. Joe Hammond, Joe Perez, John Mogg, John C. from the sunny Philippines, Jonathan Dyer, Carl Crater from the Wargame Boot Camp, Lee Grant, Mark McNair, Mark Hodgkinson, Michael Simon, Patrick of Patrick's Tactics and Tutorials, Paul Dangle, Paul Sin, Paw Popper, Phineas Albion, Perry Sparopoulos, Philip Musket, Rob Johnson. Oh boy, we got a lot of people here. Ron Nicholson from Central Ohio, Stacky Limit Stigler, and Todd Cox, and Tony Mammal. I apologize for anyone that I have missed. I guess the sound is okay then, hopefully. Say something.
Hey, everybody. Test 1 2. Test 1 2.
We're both okay. I have a tendency to talk over everybody in the room, so I have to be cognizant of that. If you've watched the Noble Knight interview that we did, sound quality was disastrous because it was me and Brant and our friends at Noble Knight were not nearly as loud as us, and I had to manually massage the volume. It was a friggin' disaster. So yeah, there's a lot of additional space at this hotel. How are the rooms?
You know, they're comparable, I'd say, to
the previous
one. Maybe a little bit bigger.
Okay,
but the gaming area, the gaming room we're in here, I think, is bigger, more comfortable. There's a little bit more room to spread out.
Yeah, there's more usable floor space here, even in just the room we've got. And there's two rooms. There's an OCS room too. Even in just the room we've got, the lighting's not bad.
The lighting I think in here is very, very acceptable.
Yeah, we are not playing with supplemental lighting at our table, but several other people are. And you know, I could use a little more light, but it's really not bad.
No,
and there's room for the event to continue to grow here, which really was not the case with the previous location. Right. So, do I have these mixed up? I absolutely do. Dipshit. So anyway, I had dropped a 7.6A. I am clipping Advanced Squad Leader. You're clipping BAR Prague.
BAR Prague. Try not
to throw counters all over the place. I understand that.
Yeah.
I've had some mishaps. A almost fully sorted counter mix for GB2 went on the floor.
Oh no!
So that had to get fixed. Yeah, that sucked bad. So, and there's no alcoholic beverages here in the convention area, and I'm personally not going to be responsible for fucking the convention up for everybody. So there will be no beverage this evening.
It's a dry room tonight.
So good. I'm glad to hear that the sound is solid. So
no, that's good because it's still busy in here. We've still got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tables going right now.
Yeah, so it's 8:05 here in Ohio, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 tables going right now, and I'm guessing that the OCS guys may be out to dinner now. I'm not sure.
Maybe,
or they may. Those guys. Yeah, they're in a different room, and the way those guys tend to play is there tends to be like some miscellaneous stuff getting done after dinner. but they do the bulk of their gameplay like between 8 in the morning and 6 at night, something like that. By then, everybody's beat anyway. So at least there's downtime with OCS, and we don't really get the downtime with GTS. It's pretty much chip. So let's see. OCS, they actually they're doing, I think they have 8 or 10 players at a big Ostfront game. They're doing Ostfront January 1945. I'll have some pictures of that because there's some interesting,
you need some pictures. It's an impressive layout.
Some interesting things have occurred.
Yep.
They were doing the Ostfront 45 thing, and I think they have 8 or 10 players, and they've gotten through close to a month of gameplay at this point, actually. So they're doing pretty good.
I think I saw Hero City on one of the other tables. They had Hero City with the northern half of Forgotten Battles connected.
Yeah, they have supplemental Hero City with Hero City's 4 maps and then the 2 northern maps from Forgotten Battles, which of course just came out. And that is a playtest that'll be, turning into a finished game at some point from MMP. There's a whole bunch of news out of MMP, and I don't know if you're prepared to talk about it, Doug, but I'm not prepared to talk about it because I don't feel like I've seen any of the news. So
I saw the Twitter announcement where they kind of got the bullet points regarding the mostly ASL news that came out yesterday. But that's about all that I've seen on it. And like I said, it's mostly focused on ASL. I was surprised to see they mentioned, I think, 3 different Hazel modules that will be in the works or coming out over the next 12 to 16 months, anywhere between April and next year.
Yeah. So ASL folks are going to have plenty to do. No doubt about that. Stacky Limit. I am clipping Advanced Squad Leader. Doug is clipping Battle of Prague from the Battles of the Age of Reason series, which I have that particular game, but it's the only one in the series I have, and I haven't touched it yet, or really even looked at it. So we're just here to have fun today. So, Profitous Albion, thanks for stopping by. So if you're in the OCS group on Facebook, Chip Saltzman, who's in that game, is posting pictures of it. There's been a whole bunch of stuff. So
I wandered by that table over the last couple of days, looking at the 45 game setup they have, and it's really interesting to see because there are things in there that you haven't seen in previous OCS games. Because now we're talking early 45 and some of the stuff the Soviets have, the situation that the Axis are in, and it covers all the way from Budapest to Courland. Yeah, it's the whole layout is it's a nice continuation. It looks like it's going to be for the current Ostfront series.
Yeah, and Space ASL is coming apparently.
Space ASL.
Okay, somebody said something about Space ASL. I don't know anything about that. I may have more news next week, but we'll see.
Hazel is historical Advanced Squad Leaders, so those are usually they're modules that are based on a historical battle or situation. So examples would be the Red Factories module that covers the Stalingrad fighting, Valor of the Guards further south in Stalingrad, Comp Group Piper, A Bridge Too Far. I think the upcoming ones I've seen, the Marco Polo Bridge, they said was going to be up for pre-order by at least April. They mentioned a Kharkov Hazel and another one that
I forget what the other one was. I didn't actually see any of this. So there's Cardboard Commander has a video summary of the conversation that resulted in all this news. So go check out Cardboard Commander's latest video if you're more interested in ASL. And I don't think that any real news came out of MMP that wasn't ASL in this particular batch.
The only thing that might fit that would be they mentioned they were going to be moving their printing overseas to try to keep costs down.
Right. That we'll see what that looks like in a couple of weeks. I don't know. It just seems like boy, the timing is just perfect here, guys. I don't know how long this has been in the cooker, but oh my goodness. William Aarons, how many people came this year? I don't know what the head count is, but my guess is it's 30, 35, somewhere between 30 and 40. That's actually pretty typical.
Yep.
And of course, not everybody stays for the entire time. A couple people have already taken off. A couple other people are leaving tomorrow. They were just here for the weekend. We did get started on Friday though.
Yes.
So the people who will be here all week, we'll have about 30 plus people here all week. So it's a small event. And the weather, because I made the decision. Oh, they're going to reprint a decision at Elst. That's another thing that was in that.
Okay.
That is the starter kit historical module, which actually people have been asking them to reprint for a while. And, MMP reprints, that seems to be not a thing that they're necessarily always happy to do. They do reprints, just, sometimes yes and sometimes no. All right. It is chilly. Mark, you should have stopped by, though. You feel free to just drop in and look around. What games are on tables? All right, so we got the big GTS Utah Beach. There is a playtest game of GTS 2.0, The Devil's Cauldron.
September Hope will be the new titles, apparently, or at least that's what the September Hope.
For the update. Okay,
yeah, Devil's Cauldron 2 is September Hope.
Okay, I really would like to see although of the two. If you can only own one of the two games, the Devil's Cauldron or Where Eagles Dare, I'd pick the Devil's Cauldron.
Oh yeah,
because it's just more modular. You've got a better scenario selection.
Well, you can actually put it on a reasonable size table. I mean, there aren't a lot of maps in Where Eagles Dare, but the layout is so funky that I can't even get it on my 6-foot by 10-foot table at home, not without it hanging off by a foot or two.
Danny, I don't know any details on this. Somebody told me about this like a couple hours ago, and I'm like, what? I will do research and figure out what is going on with Space ASL. But until those details emerge, I will continue to call it Space ASL. So John C., thanks so much for the support. It is much appreciated, guys. Copy of Wolf Pack. And another game is stuck in Taipei because of port congestion. Okay, that is not going to work. So we won't be doing that. Well, I'd like to be able to fix that, but I can't. To make this bigger, but I can't, unfortunately. You can read that, right?
Yeah,
Okay, good. All right. The changes. So the GTS 2 makes a good number of fine foundational changes to GTS, right?
Oh, yeah.
Assaults work very differently. Some of the artillery stuff works very differently. Independence work differently. So there's Mike. Mike is kind of our guru here for the Greatest Day Utah Beach, because he was involved for years in the playtest. And I don't have any real news, but Omaha is going to be along at some point. So I wouldn't complain about this there. Okay, so this is a reasonable excuse, Joe. So I get you. I get you. There is no OCS cross-channel attack here, but we did see a map for the CeeLo game, the Battle of Britain thing. So I don't know where, exactly where that's at in the pipeline, but it's they did have a map for it.
Perfidious Albion, there is a Saint Nazaire ASL module out there, historical module from Lefranc-Tireur. It's a third-party publisher.
Okay. Not critical.
I think it's called. It's a gorgeous-looking module. By the way, it's long out of print, unfortunately, and I think it goes for a very pretty penny. But so the French boys over there at LFT have done that probably 10, 15 years ago. But it was a really nice module.
Yeah, Lefranc-Tireur has a very good reputation amongst ASL third-party publishers. Bounding Fire does as well.
Yep.
There are others that I just don't know about because I not buying any third-party stuff.
Those are the two that I allow myself to get stuff from.
Who did the Prokhorovka thing? You remember? Was it Heat of Battle?
No, I'm thinking of Onslaught to Orsha, which they've done, which I think Bounding Fire has done a second edition of.
Okay. The maps.
Prokhorovka, I know Critical Hit did a Prokhorovka.
Yeah, but that's not the one I'm talking about. No. I did one, and I'll tell you what, the maps felt like they were printed on newsprint. Those maps were wafer thin.
Yep.
So if Bounding Fire redid it, then I'm sure that the map stock got upgraded. So, look at this. So the naval chit has done something. So that's awesome.
It's about time.
Yeah. So Bucko paid $225 for Operation Chariot. Is that
there? It is. Yes, Operation Chariot.
Okay.
That's it. Yeah.
And then Prokhorovka, apparently the one I'm talking about, which he's got, is from Advancing Fire, which sounds right. So, but I don't have any third-party ASL stuff, and I'm comfortable with that. I'm happy to play it if the opportunity comes up. That's fine. But just in terms of like budgeting, man, I'm not buying any more ASL stuff. Crucible of Steel looks pretty impressive. That said, and is a bunch of the stuff from Bounding Fire has looked pretty impressive.
Yeah, I've got Crucible of Steel. There's an insane scenario in there called Flying Turrets, and it is basically wall-to-wall Soviet tanks coming at the Germans during Curse. The whole
so help me God, I thought turrets could fly.
Yeah, but no, one of the reasons why Bounding Fire is on my short list of third-party ASL publishers is the physical components are always really equal to or better than what you get from Multiman, and everything's play tested well. They can be rules heavy, but it's a quality product. You know, you're getting a quality product from Bounding Fire.
So okay. Okay, I have no information on this other than somebody was standing next to me with their phone. He said they're doing space ASL. That's all I know. So we're at a convention. We're having fun playing games. I have not had the time to catch up on any of this. So full information next week, as much as I can find out. So the Bounding Fire Poland in Flames looked reasonably impressive too.
Yeah, if you have an interest in the Polish campaign, 1939 Polish campaign, that's got you covered.
Mm-hmm. Plus, I think Carl Fung's working on OCS Poland 39 as well, which I would be interested in seeing.
That. Yeah,
that's pretty recent news. So I am happy to look at there, and there's Carl. Carl, thanks for stopping by. So yeah, but there was a third OCS thing on a table at one point, and I don't remember what it was.
This weekend?
Yeah, like on Friday and Saturday. And it's that table is currently being occupied by Columbia Eastfront, I believe. So we do have Columbia's Alliance set up on a table. I think we're going to try to play that tomorrow night at 8 or 9 p.m. or something like that. So, and there's Carl, who is in fact confirming that he's designing Poland 39. This is a more interesting and competitive campaign, I think, historically, than people necessarily realize, just looking at the timetable and seeing how fast Poland fell, right?
Well, the one thing that really intrigues me about that is the Blitzkrieg Legend. One of the reasons I like that game a lot is you see the Panzer Division, you see the early Panzer divisions, how they're set up in 40, very different from what you see later on in GB2 or the Third Winter. So I'd be really curious to see what they're going to look like in that 39 Polish campaign in OCS.
And speaking of that, the Blitzkrieg Legend in particular, and I've said this before, is one of my favorite, if not my favorite, France 40 games, because it makes what I think is the correct design decision in placing all the pressure to get stuff done on the Germans, right? You can definitely see that the Germans operationally are much more efficient than, say, the French, but it's the burden's on them to like get stuff done, and I think that was a really good decision and prevented the kind of false factor inflation that we have seen sometimes with other France 1940 games. So let's see here.
Yeah, I was going to say, Carl, if you're listening, BCS 1940, I think that would be a beautiful fit for that system.
Yeah, Market Garden too. I'm all over that.
Absolutely. Well, I know some initial work has been done on Market Garden for BCS, but there's been a lot in the pipeline.
Yeah, I'm pretty much cool with whatever they want to do for BCS personally.
Yeah.
I mean, I even bought Valley of Tears, which is not one of my normal topics, right?
Yep.
So, and did we have a BCS game happening here at one point? We do have Italia, though. We didn't mention that. So Italia is basically Avalon Hills, Anzio, except it's everything. It's Sicily all the way up. And it is a bit hard to get, but you can run down copies on BGG without spending too much money. I know Fucko's got a copy, so there you go. So hey, like I said, Carl, just there's some money. Just get them done, and we'll buy
back pre-orders here. So for both of those, absolutely.
And I assume you've ordered Inflection Point as well.
Yes,
as have I.
Absolutely, I'm looking forward to that one. That one's going to be a nice addition to the series.
I am enthusiastic about Inflection Point, and frankly, the great majority of the BCS things that are in the pipeline, right? France 40, cool. I'm all over that. The Market Garden thing, cool. I'm all over that. Gala Beachhead, I love Sicily games. So I'm. Have you ever played Vance von Borey's Invasion Sicily?
No, I have not.
That's a pretty cool and interesting
Okay.
GMT game that nobody seems to talk about anymore. It was one of GMT's very few like game releases in a Ziploc.
Oh, okay.
It was not in a box. It was just in a Ziploc. And
that may be why I missed it.
That might be why. But it was also like 93 or 94 or something like that. So it's pretty early. Aaron Dennis, thanks for stopping by. So Nuts has actually really, and I didn't pull this up either. We're on the road here, folks, so we don't have good information. But I did see a Nuts publishing schedule for 2025 and the reprint of the Italia World War I game that they did last year, which I'm pretty impressed by. It should hit in 2025. So, is anybody? Are you aware of an ASL casino? I'm not, but that doesn't mean anything.
Critical Hit has done one, but I think they've done. I mean, Critical Hit's done ASL just about everything over the years.
Let me ask a different question: has any ASL casino product ever been play tested?
I don't. Off the top of my head, I can't. Now, keep in mind, I'm like 3 days into the con here, so I'm running on like 4 hours sleep. Nothing comes to mind immediately. That is a casino focus. Well, certainly a casino Hazel, or even I'm sure there's some themed scenario packs, maybe, but nothing that I can think of.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there's scenarios. That's not
there's
even
tons
a
of scenarios.
There's probably half a dozen scenarios in the new Hollow Legions alone. I haven't checked that, but I suspect that there's at least a couple. Let me put it that way. ASL Ortona, I've heard of, but I haven't actually seen. As Brant mentioned, Gamers Armory down in Cary, North Carolina, has a large selection of ASL product from both MMP and a variety of different third parties.
Yeah, I've ordered a lot of stuff from them over the years and always got good service.
I've never bought anything from them, but it'll happen sooner or later. So, folks, if you haven't done so already, please do like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. I mean, I would consider buying an upgraded edition of this. I mean, it's a one map game, so I guess they could like mount the map and make it fancy. That would be cool. So, was there a GMT update this week? Am I missing that? Because Blue Steel says, Mr. President coming to Steam. I don't know that I'd heard that.
No, I have not heard that.
I haven't heard that. So Avalon Hills France 40, which if I'm not mistaken is a Dunnigan design. That came from through SPI. It was originally an S&T game. And then it was one that Avalon Hill picked up. But other than that, I've never played it. I've never owned it. I've never looked at it. I don't know much about it. This does seem a rather artificial mechanic. All right. So Mark Hodgkinson says, Battle of Salamaua and Lair, 1943. What game skill would I do it in? I don't know enough about that topic to have an intelligent opinion on that. What about you?
That might be a bit small for OC or for BCS, unless. Well, you know, they did AeroCorps, they did Baptism by Fire, so I mean, I think BCS could do it.
Edward, thanks for stopping by. No, we're probably not gonna. We might mention RPGs tonight, but this Monday live show is every week on Monday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it is typically all about tabletop war games. But if you want to watch last week's show, which is on the channel, I spent a lot of time talking about RPGs last week, which is not by design. It's just kind of how it worked out. So, but thank you for stopping by. All right, so let's see what else we got here. Accurate Simulations, released an Iraqi freedom game, seems to be a sequel to Desert Storm: The 100 Hours War. I am unfamiliar with Accurate Simulations.
Yeah, me too.
So, okay. Well, if this is, I mean, I assume that it will make the GMT update, which is probably actually coming out this week, I would think. Usually it's around the third Wednesday of the month that GMT does their updates. So, okay. Neandry Mike says, and of course he would know. Heat of Battle did Fortress Casino. Okay. So there you go. If you're looking for that, yeah, I'm pretty happy with. I don't know what schmick means, but I'm pleased with the new Op Typhoon from what I've seen. Did you pick that up?
No,
okay.
no, that one I did not.
Okay, but you did get the new Axis Empires, right?
Oh yeah, right. The Ultimate Edition, yeah. Oh yeah, that's very nice, very nice product.
Pretty impressed.
I had the two previous ones, Dicenso and Totaler Krieg, but I thought it was worth it to go ahead and upgrade to the Ultimate Edition. I'm glad I did. Yeah, because it's got the Shifts Krieg and it's got the Dice of Decision in it too. So.
Plus a bunch of additional options like the Fortunes of War cards. And it's the counters are thicker, like a lot thicker. The maps are they've redone all the map art. I think the map art's nicer, although the old ones were fine. There was nothing wrong with them. But the whole thing, and you get like 1 million cards in that thing too. So I'm reasonably impressed with it, and it has since its release become regular in the local war game rotation around here. So as you will know from having seen it on the table in Merv's basement. So yeah, I'll have to check this out. I would seriously consider Mr. President as a digital game. I think it's a natural. Have you played that?
Yeah.
It's neat.
Yeah.
I think it's a natural fit for that, and the player not having to do. There's like a substantial amount of like piece management with a bunch of different chip pools and a variety of other things that I think lend themselves well to the computer handling it, so I don't have to bother. So. I'm not sure. Other than, do you have anything planned for this week on the side, other than possibly Alliance, which is kind of my planned side game?
I always throw a couple extra little things in the bag when I come. I brought Republic of Rome.
Excellent.
So if we can get a 5 or 6 player game of that some
night. Only takes 15, 16 hours to play, so we'll be fine.
Threw Aerocore in because it's a nice small BCS, quick BCS, and what I think I brought my old up front. So. Just mostly some little stuff. Oh, I did bring Eastern Front for Der Weltkrieg,
which was a thing we really seriously considered doing this year.
Pimping for a game next year. We need to get 5 or 6 or 7 guys. So
cool. I'm all over that. If that occurs. So
the idea we had talked with some guys earlier for next year, we're going to do the theme of the World Wars. We can have because we talked about World in Flames, and we talked about Der Weltkrieg. Well, World in Flames has a lot of downtime, like OCS does, right? So we'll do both. We'll get the sides aligned. You're doing your whiff turn while the active side is doing their whiff turn. The inactive side is doing their active side in Der Weltkrieg.
I think that's pretty workable.
We'll knock out both World Wars in a week.
Yeah. Of course, we could do Fatal Alliances instead. Thinking about it, I'm just saying we wouldn't have to relearn. Although. I think that's a recipe to get confused.
Yeah,
because they're similar, but they're different enough that I think I would get confused.
Yep.
So, all right, it's Brand. I think this is a great idea. Maybe you should look into doing this. I think it's a fabulous idea. So Tuesday Newsday, folks, on the Armchair Dragoons website, armchairdragoons.com. Maybe Carl can touch on this, but I don't know how involved he is in the ASL end of MMP. Did we hear something about Impal for ASL? I don't remember hearing that.
Doesn't ring a bell.
Yeah,
not me. You know what? I think that may have been the one Hazel I couldn't remember.
Was that the other one? Okay.
I know it was Kharkov and Marco Polo Bridge.
Okay, they've been talking about Marco Polo Bridge for quite a while, though. So I know about that.
Yeah, and that one sounds like it's really, really close.
Yeah, it should be. That's the one they said should be on pre-order by April, I thought.
One was getting ready to go to the printer. Rotterdam, I think.
I think so.
ASL Rotterdam.
I do admit to some degree of confusion as to the sort of methodology MMP uses to put games on pre-order, because sometimes they don't. Particularly if they're ASL and they just say, it's available now. Here you go. It'll be available for 30 days at discounted or whatever. And now for like the Aslock packs, that makes perfect sense because they release them at the event, or the Winter Offensive packs. But like for other stuff, I'm not sure what the methodology is. That is not a complaint. That just I'm just saying I don't feel like I understand exactly what the strategy is, but if they do, cool. So clipping counters, how barbaric. We do not play with uncircumcised counters around here. And I'm pleased to say that our entire Utah Beach game is also clipped and beautiful as opposed to savage and uncouth. So the specific counters I'm clipping are the Marines from Rising Sun, Jeff Beeler. So, right, Profitous Albion is talking about Prokhorovka from Advancing Fire, the definitive ASL product on the subject, quite expansive and long out of print. So I have an unboxing video of a Prokhorovka product. There have been more than one though, so maybe I'm thinking we're talking about two different ones. That's possible, but Advancing Fire sounded familiar to me, so I don't know. Whichever one had the super thin maps is the one that I did the unboxing of, which was a buddy unboxing though. It wasn't mine, so I can't go check it.
Profitous Albion, Advancing Fire or Bounding Fire?
I don't think it was Bounding Fire. I'm pretty sure it wasn't Bounding Fire.
All right. Because
Advancing Fire or Heat of Battle, I don't know.
Crucible of Steel.
That was Bounding Fire.
And I think the flying turret scenario is Prokhorovka.
Okay.
But they've got dozens of scenarios in that thing.
Okay. Yeah. So this is Drop Zone Chef DuPont, which sounds like late this year, early next year, perhaps. So yeah, it's another. Yep. It doesn't really. I don't know if it ties together with St. Mary-Galise or not. I would imagine it does not. But it's a similar thing. I wonder if they will be including paradrop scenarios in it, though, because St. Mary-Galise does not have any. So if you're into the ASL paradrop stuff, which some people are, I have actually never used the paradrop rules. So I have no idea. Well, I guess I have a vague recollection of how they work from having read them 20 years ago. But
like a lot of things in ASL, they look intimidating until you actually see it in play, and you're like, oh, you mean that's it? So they're not bad. It's
yeah. I mean, and like Doug said, there's ASL is not genuinely as complicated as most people assume it to be. Just looking at the weight of the rule book, right? So you can, and this is what ASL Starter Kit does. It just like boils it all away and cuts out some rules, but mostly what it cuts out is like the hairier terrain types and stuff like that, and you just don't have to worry about that. So. Let's see. All right, so 2011 Bounding. God, that's a long time ago. I think I'm just getting old. Yeah. I'm pretty sure this is 100% dead on.
Well, he did say Advancing Fire because he was apparently looking at it.
Yeah. Well, and Mike, I'm sure Mike has it. So because he's got everything.
Meandering Mike's right about Crucible of Steel and Bounding Fire back in 2011. I've got that one. Advancing Fire while you...
Yeah, Just a Guard, welcome back. Got Oblique from Hollenspiel. That actually looks fairly interesting. I have not. That's the kind of thing I'll probably think about buying from them at BGF because Blue Panther will be there, and they'll have all the Hollenspiel stuff, all of the Blue Panther stuff now, and whoever. I'm drawing a blank. Catastrophe Games and Catastrophe Games might actually be at BGF. I'm not sure. So. That's the kind of thing I know I'm going to be there in a month and a half, so I might as well just wait. So I would be cool with that. So Profitous Albion says, so yes. The answer is yes. So what both of us are using are the Oregon Laminations Corner Rounder, which you can get on Amazon or you can get it for the same price directly from Oregon Laminations. And regardless of who you buy it from, Oregon Laminations is where it's actually coming from. So you might as well get it directly from them. Both Doug and I are using the non-deluxe version because these won't break. The deluxe versions will break. I was told, I didn't know this, I've broken 2 of the deluxe clippers, and it turns out Fucko has broken 4. So he's evidently got a mighty grip from doing something, and he won't say what. So we'll leave that discussion to him. But I'm happy with this one. And yeah, these are available in 2mm, 2.5 millimeter, and 3 millimeter. I use 2.5 for half-inch counters only for ASL. However, I'm normal. You got 2 or 2.5?
2.5.
Okay. If you're going to buy one, I would get the 2.5. It's the most versatile. But I have occasionally seen counters with, that are so dense that you might clip a little bit off if you're using a big radius. But if you're using 2 millimeters, I wouldn't worry very hard about that. They would have to be badly designed counters for that to be a concern, or badly misaligned. So,
no, Perfidious is right. Advancing Fire, they're an Italian company, and as soon as I went to the website, I recognized because they did Piazza Ridge and or Sonia, so they've done some Italian.
I've seen Piazza Ridge too.
Some
actually.
Italian modules, and then they did that Prokhorovka module.
Okay.
So that's the one.
We're getting this all messed up already. So he's mad. He's mad. That's okay. He can come down and punch me if he really wants to. So, well, you know what? I can totally understand that, given the scale. So, speaking of pair drops, I'm playing in Utah Base, the 101st Airborne, and basically a battalion of guys, not necessarily one specific battalion, but basically a battalion worth of paratroopers landed in the face down in the English Channel. So I was a little salty about that.
Yeah, you got off to a rough start.
What are you going to do? Yeah. Yeah. And then I had a couple drop points overrun or rally points overrun, which is also not a great development. But again, you know, you got to roll with the punches as they come. So, but I do want to play more ASL this year. Is there something specific you want to play this year more of? Other than World in Flames and all the stuff we've mentioned.
Specifically, yeah. No, well, Battles from the Age of Reason kind of started to really get into that kind of last year, and would like to continue. Would like to get Prague on the table, for example. What else? Well, yes, more Develop Krieg. I will be doing some more GCACW, so that's actually on one of the tables right now. So
awesome. At least, as far as I know, just one. There are other people who are watching the show here from the room and listening to me talk. So that's great. Nick, thanks so much for the support. It is much appreciated. Well, we got to take Karen Tan at some point before about September. So that's the plan. What? I don't know anything about this. However, I have an MMP coffee mug, and it is a large and handsome coffee mug, and my wife likes it too. And that I know because she keeps stealing it. So I'm like, "Where's my coffee mug?" When? And she has used it for hot chocolate or something like that. So we have taken a special 2-hour sabbatical from Utah Beach to take part in this delightful show this evening. So, but you know, I don't know about you, man. I feel I'm getting old and have energy management problems, right? So I don't necessarily have the energy level to come to a convention and like play games for 15 hours a day still, right? Not that it never happens. I mean, we kind of did it last year, to be honest, on Richmond.
Yeah, but with that game, it's back and forth, and it's so fast paced. The next thing you know, 6 hours has gone by. So
yeah, and 20 turns.
It's not. There's not a lot of. There's almost no downtime in that system. So it's not like you're sitting around for 45 minutes waiting for the other guys to do their thing, and then you get back into it for a while. So,
I hope it isn't. Is it? That would be unfortunate if true. We can always pull this forward, I guess, but that might mean the sound changes.
Like a commentary on you and me, I think.
I wouldn't be surprised if there are autofocus problems with the camera, because that has been known to occur.
Well, 4 days into a con, and I always look out of focus.
Well, I can't see shit, so I need to go to the eye doctor. But there you go. John C is off to play Combat Commander. There you go. We do not have time for naps here at Winterfest in sunny, and by sunny I mean
it was sunny today.
Well, the sun was out today. Yeah, so I decided this year, because hey, the convention is closer to me. It's like should be 28 minutes away. On Saturday morning, I think it took me 75 minutes to get here due to the blizzard that was currently happening, which was not optimal to say the least. But the other, did you know you are the other guy?
I am.
Christoph the clerk has deemed you the other guy. We were going to actually introduce ourselves as the two ugliest men in wargaming, But then that would not be accurate. So I didn't. So, well, I mean, close.
Hey, we're in the ballpark.
We're in radio land here, as far as that goes. I probably have mixed some of these up, but oh well. I guess we'll just have to figure it out after the fact. Chances are excellent because I did not bring baggies, so chances are excellent these will all be going in one large sandwich bag at the end of the night. So, all right. So Charles Latoro is playing Mayfair Games Sanctuary. I haven't seen that in a long time. Setting up Panzer Group Guderian. I have never played that Mayfair Sanctuary game. I want to say this sounds going to sound weird. The only Mayfair board game I've played might be Empire Builder. Actually, it sounds weird. Yeah, I don't think I've played any of the other ones. I've had a couple of them, but not very many. I think I had Hammer Slammers at one point, and I think they did a Pern game that I had. But I never played either of those things. So, stream what? I said other people are streaming. Are there other? There are other YouTube channels theoretically. You're welcome to investigate those in your own time. 348. Okay, 238, 248. We're trying to sort out the half squads here, folks, and we're doing a bang up job. What can I say? No, this is Doug from the Tabletop's Edge. If you don't know, you should go subscribe to his channel. He does fabulous content. When are we going to see the next One Flames video? He knew I was going to ask him this on camera.
Oh, wait, you put me on the spot. I'll commit to getting one up in March.
Okay,
for sure.
There you go.
But I actually, because I've got a GCACW episode basically filmed. I'm editing it now, so that will go up the week after this when I get back home and have time to finish that, and then we'll get into filming the next whiff, which is a kind of a big turn coming up. So
excellent.
May June 40.
That should be big. Yep. Yeah. Doug has already done a video on at least one. Haven't you done more than that? Did you do a previous GCACW thing?
I did. I kind of filmed my first actual sit down kind of wrestling with the system.
Okay.
It was the 1 day scenario out of Here Come the Rebels, South Mountain. So
that is
just
like
the
classic
single turn and
intro scenario.
I'd read the rules. I pulled it out of the box. I said, let's film this and see what happens. And was instantly hooked. So there will be a lot of GCACW coming this year and in the years to come. But I want to keep that with project going, if for no other reason to finish the game and free up the table space.
I will have a video on Lock and Load's Glory and Empire pretty soon.
Oh, good.
Actually, so that has shown up. So that and Close Quarters Battles, the Waterloo thing. So there will be some video on that. And it came too late last week for me to really deal with making content on it before I had to come here. So that's why that video is not out yet. The Glory and Empire video is filmed. I just have to do the editing. So Meandering Mike mentions other IP licensed games that Mayfair did. Forever War is another one. Lone Wolf and Cub, Myth Adventures. I vaguely remember that. I remember the books, of course. And Elf Quest. I'm not sure I remember a Mayfair Elf Quest game, but I think that I might just be unaware that it's different from Chaosium's Elf Quest game, which is coming back. They just did a Kickstarter for it. So, Doug, did you ever find a copy of Skirmisher #2?
I did, actually.
Oh, excellent.
I did. And so I guess some news as far as the whole project goes. You will be seeing the Chancellorsville campaign.
Excellent.
There, the Burnside Takes Command module. Yep. I just got a copy of it last week, I think it arrived.
Cool.
Yep.
I managed to score the magazine fairly inexpensively, and then the counters.
Did you get the counters?
Yeah, I got the counters separately. I forget exactly how that went down. But I think a good Samaritan may have shot me the counters without the magazine.
Nice.
And that's of the skirmishers. That's probably the one that most people want because it's got Burnside Takes Command in it, which has not been reprinted elsewhere.
Right. The Rebels in the White House is in there, but that's included in the Road to Gettysburg too.
Yes. Yeah. No, that's exactly where it is. So we'll see what happens next year here. So The corporate, I think this was called the Corporate Wars or something like that. I do vaguely remember that. Hammer Slammers could make a good movie thinking about it, but then it raises the specter of a lot of the material as short stories, and then how do you turn that into a novel? And it becomes a little more of a writing challenge for whoever's in charge. These are challenges that previous screenwriters have managed to overcome in the past. But as long as they don't hire the Rings of Power writing room to do it, I think we'll be okay. So, okay, I don't really clearly remember this, but I was never into ElfQuest. So, Brant says it wasn't any good anyway. There is no dealer's room here at Winterfest. It is a very play-focused convention, and in fact, barring the weekend, the restaurant's not open either. So, but they were actually open for the weekend, so that's cool. There was some kind of youth hockey event. Yeah. They were staying here, and then there was a goldfish auction.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's a thing. First, if you didn't know.
Yep.
So, and then this is. I'm trying to think of when Chaosium did their RPG, which was roughly at this time, I think. But it give or take 2 or 3 years too. I don't know. Again, that's not something I got into. So, hey, yeah, maybe I need to read some of these. Actually, somebody was telling me. Who was it? Might have been Dave. Was telling me about some CJ Sherry stuff that he really enjoyed earlier today or yesterday or something like that. So, I do think it's interesting that like some RPG people saw the live stream and have shown up.
Yeah,
expecting that more after the Harn video. So the Harn video that we did last week is going gangbusters. I don't know why. Although I will be trying to repeat that yes, if possible. That never happens, by the way. But I'll give it a shot, see what happens. But in the meantime, I don't want to necessarily tie this show up with a bunch of RPG stuff. So, and they did. I think this is completely fair. I may quip from time to time, but whatever other people, whatever makes them happy, man, go to town. It ain't hurting anybody else. What do I care? So, no, this is totally right, actually. Manfred Connor, thanks for stopping by. Hammer Slammers would be easier to convert to a film than Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit or Dune. Well, maybe not The Hobbit, because I think they could have done a lot better job than they did. But Lord of the Rings or Dune, those are super challenging to adapt. So, hey, good night. So, this is kind of it. I think you must have told me this, Brant. Because I seem to recall this. Chris, thanks for stopping by. I am totally mixing these up in a very unfortunate way. All right, Neuromancer's coming to. I think it's Apple TV's doing Neuromancer.
Is it?
I think so.
Okay.
They're casting already, so that's happening. Murderbot, I have not read, but that's by Martha Wells. I hear it's fun and it's like super easy reading, which is not what I'm reading right now. So I will be probably checking that out at some point. But we got 145 people here tonight, which is pretty good. I'm happy with that. So we've got a whole bunch of interesting things on tables here. Is there anything like that you've seen here that you're like, oh yeah, I want to play that? Definitely. That we're not already playing. That is.
Believe it or not, the Symphony of Destruction that 10K Games 10K Games is working on.
I forgot to mention that.
This is it's kind of neat to see the game develop through playtesting. I had a chance to actually do some playtesting of it back in October, and then they've made some revisions and changes to it. I haven't had as much time to step away from GTS Utah to really kind of see how big the changes are, but it's a really intriguing system, very different than anything I've seen before. So I'm hoping they can pull it all together, because that's something that that I'm interested in playing.
Yeah. Plus, it's gonna be Army Group North, East Front, the whole war.
Yeah.
With ample scenarios, which is interesting and exciting.
Yeah.
right? So, and of course, we've got some other things that might come up in the pipeline that we might be able to talk about here in future years as well. Roger, you are not required to clip counters, but I am not required to play with your unclipped counters, am I? So, all right, yeah, I will let them know. Grant, thanks. So so to some extent, I actually had never really thought of this until Nate, the Gimpy Gamer, mentioned this. He told somebody, he asked him this question: "What are clip counters? That seems like a waste of time." Blah 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 blah. And he said, I make YouTube videos. They look nicer." So, and I'm like, well, yeah, of course. I never like put that together in my head. I said those two separate things, and never like connected them until Nate said it, and I'm like, oh yeah, well yeah, no kidding. So there's reasons. But, well, we're all in agreement with this. We are all in agreement with this. I don't know what they were thinking when this came together. So,
should we call John Madison over?
We could call John over and have him rant.
Just turn it over to him for.
We could actually we could go have a beer while John rants for 45 minutes about Rings of Power and how amazing it is, right, John? The Peanut Gallery, yeah. John has been a longtime champion of Amazon's, and I quote, fabulous Rings of Power show, and thoroughly faithful to the source material, I believe he has said.
You're lucky he can't hear you.
I know. You'd be throwing bricks at me right now. You're fucking So, yeah, it takes very little provocation. Very little provocation. Yet somebody was like, not at a high volume. Somebody was playing the Rings of Power soundtrack in this room on Friday, and he started going off. What is that? So it was fantastic. Fantastic. All right. So what are we doing? Who's B gang? B gang? Are they surrendering?
Oh,
if you need to go over there, go ahead. So this is indeed.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, we've got a question over at the Utah Beach table. So, so another factor though is large games with high counter density, which I personally tend to play a lot of, and it really does help to clip the corners off the counters because they will snag less on adjacent stacks of counters. So that is completely legitimate reason to clip your counters. That said, if you got to clip 3,000 of them for one game, that's a lot. So there were things that I liked about season 1. There were also things I strongly disliked, but I don't know, 4 episodes into season 2 or something like that. And I'm telling myself I'm going to finish watching season 2. And I'm having trouble working up the enthusiasm, to be completely honest, because I think it's kind of a turd. And I think the issues that I had with it have not been addressed in season 2 from what I've seen so far. There are other people that like it, and I wish that, and I'm not being facetious here, I wish them the highest enjoyment. But I had problems. So Mike, you could always recycle the clipped off corners. Some people do save their corners. I was actually saving my corners. I had a mason jar, and as it was got to be about 2/3 full, my wife said, "What the fuck is this? Are you a lunatic? Why are you saving these?" So I started throwing them away instead. So Chris Yap, thanks so much for the support. It is much appreciated. Lock and Load's Blood and Fury, which is, I think, an expansion or standalone thing for World of War 85. Considering that I feel like this series has been very successful for Lock and Load. So they had some difficulties with this round of Kickstarters, but I think that's settled now and games are getting into people's hands. So I would be a little surprised if we didn't continue to see stuff from for this particular series. I have actually played the old, assuming we're talking about the SPI, Richard Berg and Howie Barish. Actually, I should say that Howie Barish and Richard Berg, because I think Berg was more. I think Howard Barish was the main designer on that. On at least the War of the Ring. Have you played that SPI's War of the Ring?
No, not SPI's.
Okay,
no.
I played it, but it's been a long time. So
I've got
So-
the Ares games. War of the Ring, which is
I've got
really
that
nice,
too,
but
and that's a
very
good game.
different. It's not
Oh,
Hex
very
Encounter,
different.
yeah.
Very well. It's even aside from that, it's very different. It's pretty war gamey though. I mean, it's there's wizards and orcs and shit, but I mean, it feels like you're playing a war game with little plastic figures.
Yeah.
So, I don't have this, but I would be shocked if this wasn't true. Everything I have from Lock and Load ways has just have absolute ton of stuff in it. So sometimes you just need somebody else to ask, "What the fuck are you doing?" So it happens. Yep, Swords and Bayonets. You will not need very much table by Swords and Bayonets, though. So there's that. Stegler expresses his disgust at this entire situation, which is expected. I might have done a short on Rings of Power, but it was more like, hey, it's I'm watching it. I might watch more of it. I don't know yet. Something like that. Oh, as a hidden movement or play by email game, I think this is almost certainly true. Actually, SPI War of the Ring as like a refereed double blind game. I think that could be pretty cool. Although I would say that if the game were intended to be played like that, I think it would have been designed differently, right? Oh, it's amazing you should mention this, Manfred. Of course, Doug's played some of these, and I have too. I have not played the East Front, however. You've played Fire in the East, right? Scorchers, right?
That one, no.
No? Okay.
It's Europe stuff has been mostly the smaller games in the series. For Whom the Bell Tolls, the Scandinavian one. What's the title?
Oh, which one? Narvik or
no,
Storm over
the later-
Scandinavia?
That's it.
Yeah,
Storm
okay.
over Scandinavia. Balkan
Front. Right, because
I
there's
wanna say
Balkan
Balkan
Fury
Fury,
too. That's a
yeah.
different game.
which
Well,
that
sort of.
just arrived. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've played Second Front, War in the Desert, and Balkan Front in recent years. And back in the day, I played Case White, which
I've got that.
which was replaced by First to Fight, and which I have in the new version, but I haven't played it. Like I said, though, I'd be interested in playing that. I think that's an interesting campaign. So be curious to see how it plays. I do, and I need to do. So here's the thing, Chris. This broke in my bag before I even walked out the door that day. So I had to order another one. I have procured another one, and there will be a video on it. And thank you for the marvelous device. I just need to actually do that. We have already done this, Brant. We did our share bringing Europa back to Origins after an absence of many years. Any further work on this is up to you. So it was funny, actually, because we ran Second Front. A Second Front scenario, I should say, at Origins. Just kind of like to say it's not that big. It was what we did was a 2-map scenario, so it wasn't that big. But like a lot of people came by and said, "Oh, what's this? Ooh, we've never seen anything this big before." But a couple of people that came by were like the old Europa Fest people, and we're like, "Oh yeah, we're doing it again. You want to play?" They're like, "No, no, thank you." So, I am positive, although I have complained plenty about Europa, I have had what I consider to be a good experience playing it, despite the frustrations and humor in the entire thing. So I'll probably play it again. We've talked about doing it here, actually.
Yep.
So
it used to be played here a lot back in the day.
it did,
wasn't it?
yeah.
And
it got
then,
played a lot
then
here.
it kind of transitioned to OCS.
OCS reliably is played here on multiple tables every single year. So, what is hanging from the top of the screen? Assuming you're talking about that sconce back here. That's all that is. So, Brant, I don't care if you're busy or not. So you got to get this done. You can delegate this. That's fine. You just can't delegate it to me. So I'm perfectly cool with that. Alistair switches to Excel. His wife walks into the room. I am reasonably sure she's thinking that's not what's going on there, Alistair. But you know, if that's working, great. But there's that. I do like both Balkan Front and Merida Mercure. I think they're an interesting operational puzzle that I think works well at Europa's scale with that counter mix and at that turn scale and all that stuff. I think it works less well in certain other areas, like Second Front, for example. But that said, I've played it twice and I had fun, so I bought it. What can I say? So there are badges. Badges are here. So it does actually kind of look like tweezers. It's not. It's it's a sconce. There you go. So, but it does kind of look like that. These are Western Desert, Torch, and the Near East were all redone and included in JRD's War in the Desert, with a good amount of revision, I think. But I never had Western Desert or Torch, so I've only played the War in the Desert iterations. Game in the 90s that when you hit the escape key, a spreadsheet popped onto the screen. The boss key. I don't know what we're talking about here.
Yeah, so you're playing at work,
right?
On the clock, boss walks in, you hit the key, boom, it takes you right to a spreadsheet.
This is good thinking. What game was this? I am curious. Don't think no video games got played when I was working overnight on a help desk, and if nobody was calling, what am I going to do? Sit there? So I work on old tickets, but you can only, you only got so many old tickets hanging around. There is a game. I think Eric, thanks for stopping by. No, I think Narvik is actually quite a solid, small Europa experience too. You can play it out of Storm over Scandinavia, but that provides a bunch of additional options for you as well, like the Swedes and all that jazz. So, Paul Sin says Wolfenstein, which I never played any of those, so I have no idea. Which is probably weird, to be honest, that I have not played those. Yeah. This is fair, I think, Doug. A pilot should not know anything about a boss escape key. And Doug was not involved in any way in that mishap over the Potomac a few weeks ago. So we asked.
You should see what happens when we close and lock that flight deck door.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'd have to take a closer look at the specifics of Merida Mercure, which I do not have and haven't had since the 80s, I think. So I can't really tell you much about that, but I do have War in the Desert now. What we don't have is Neil, I have the damned Die Hard. This is Philippines 4142, I think. I haven't played it. Yep. I would actually be interested in trying this out too. It shouldn't be very dense, right? It's the Philippines.
No.
Yeah. Jeff Fielder points out that Narvik requires you to remember which units entered a hex for combat from which direction. I believe that is an ongoing Europa thing, actually, because that does come up sometimes. This came up a couple times in Second Front as well. So, loading. This is fantastic. The progress bar says loading shady offshore investments. That sounds amazing. That's some planning right there. I don't know if that's a serious feature at that point, though. Well, that's the news media today. What can I say? The plane appears to be upside down. So they probably just turn the camera upside down, or the picture would be my guess. So as usual here at Winterfest, we have a lounge area with couches and a big TV, actually. Yep. What's on the TV now?
The Patriot.
The Patriot. Okay. Earlier today was Downfall and Enemy at the Gates and Fury. And maybe some stuff that I missed, so I'm not really sure. Is this soccer? I don't know. I don't even know what we're talking about. What Brad's talking
probably
about.
Probably hockey, I bet.
It could be.
It's
Sweden?
the four nations, right? And Canada, U.S., Sweden, and I don't know who the fourth one is.
Okay. Well, I will leave it to the folks that are watching this to fill us in on what's going on, because I'm not. We are busy. Jeff says Narvik and the damn Die Hard both have more detailed scales. Narvik definitely does. I haven't looked closely enough at the damn Die Hard to do that. Oof. Okay, so I don't know anything about the new Battle of Five Armies. I think it's from Ares, though. I think. Nor did I ever own the old board game from ICE. However, I did have a lot of their Middle Earth role playing stuff. So there's that. But no spoilers. There you go. So Brant, you can shut up now. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if Europa returned at some point here. And Mike's telling us that there's Sweden, Finland, Canada, the USA is playing the championship game on Thursday. Waiting to see who's the victim. All right, there we go. So I didn't know anything about this. So, but then again, I haven't had time to watch anything. I watched like the last 20 minutes of not 20 minutes of clock time, but 20 minutes of like broadcast time of the Super Bowl. That's about all I got. And the the road conditions here for the last couple, not this morning so much, but for the last couple of days have been absolutely atrocious. So, all right, it's an irrelevant game because the U.S. has already qualified for the final and Canada winning earlier. They'll meet again in the final. Okay, so that's cool. A battle almost broke out. I don't know what.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess no spoilers for the hockey game.
Yeah, the Canada USA game. I guess the fans, the Canadian fans booed when the U.S. anthem was played.
Oh,
and
okay.
so there were like 3 fights in the first like 9 seconds of the game.
Oh, okay.
Before USA went on to win 3-1. So,
all right.
Condolences to our Canadian friends up there.
Yeah, sorry, as you would say in Canada. Also, I didn't realize that was a reenactment of Slapshot. So, did the Canadians hire the Hansoms to participate in that game? Or did the Americans? Indeed it is. Kyle Harris and an Ardwulf 2 t-shirt. I'm a big fan. So anyway, TSR, yeah, TSR. I am unclear as to whether this game was actually licensed or not, or whether TSR just said we're doing it, and we will stop selling it when they send us a nasty letter, or their lawyers will send us a nasty letter. So I do find that not a great number of people have any idea what Ardwulf 2 means. So, but occasionally, yeah, it happens. Actually, I've worn like rock t-shirts the whole time so far, haven't I?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
this year,
yeah.
You had Dio on the other day.
Yeah, Dio on, and yes, yesterday, and something on Friday. I forget what that was. So I guess we'll see. We'll see how that goes. I have no real. I'm not keeping up with this hockey thing, so I don't know that I can really say anything else that's going to add anything to the conversation. So I won't. So let's talk about war games instead. What do you? So you've got Whiff on the table at home.
Yes.
Okay. Anything else on the table at home at the moment? Not that that's not enough. Right?
The Veltkrieg Italian Front and the Virginia campaign from All Green Alike GCACW. So that's those 3 are on the tables right now.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see where it goes from there. Mm-hmm. I don't anticipate All Green Alike being up for too terribly long because it's only a 15-turn campaign. So
yeah,
it'll be a few weeks. So because I'm filming though, it takes obviously a lot longer to play it and film it than if I were to just sit down and kind of run through the campaigns.
It really does. I can verify. Nathan Landrum, I have not had a chance. It is on my to-do list to actually get this played. The campaigns and Europe games from Decision that appeared in World War magazine over the course of like 4 consecutive issues, and then there's an expansion pack which I believe is already available actually, that will add a lot of additional scenarios, extend several existing scenarios, and give you multi-map scenarios. So if you like that system, then the expansion is something you want to probably take a serious look at. How long has that Whiff been on the table? I was reluctant to even put this on the screen.
No, I was thinking about this the other day, actually, as I was walking past it for who knows how many times. I want to say it has been on that big table for well over a year, probably. It's 2 years, if not over 2.5 years, maybe. No, maybe not quite 2.5, but it's well over a year, at least a year and a half.
Well, he's done more with that than I have with Army Group Center, which
Well, there
has
you go.
seen which I set up a couple like 2 scenarios and have done nothing with, and that was like 3 months ago. So there we go. The time
Yes,
has
Sean.
not been
Yes,
there.
2 years sounds about right.
So there we go. Regular group, no. Doug and I get to play together a couple times a year reliably. So
Fortunately,
we're just 300 miles apart.
He was about 2 hours away from me before he moved a few years back.
That's
so
true.
now it's a bit of a stretch to get up here. So.
Just a little. So the answer to this is yes, they did. There was engineering happening on Friday to get this set up, and then the actual playtesting and development team arrived Friday night, and I think they probably pulled a close to all-nighter to set it up overnight. Would be my guess. And then they've been going at it since then, and they're making excellent progress.
Yeah, you walk into that room. Well, when you walked in that room on Friday, it smelled like walking into Home Depot.
Yeah, it smelled like sawdust.
Yeah.
and wood screws.
Yes.
So excellent. Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. I am very pleased with the coffee mugs. So, I like actual cheese. I don't know about anybody else.
Real cheese.
Real cheese, yeah. I'm not a big fan of Velveeta. It's just like this sort of weird, salty, non-Newtonian fluid. And I'm not sure I can get behind that. That said, American cheese, which contains cheese, but is not cheese, is a good solution for grilled cheese. So there we go. Anyway. All right. So let's while we are sitting here, let's go for a 30 seconds or so to our official sponsor of the Counter Clipping Show, Noble Knight Games.
Here at Noble Knight Games, we've been carefully growing the world's largest selection of board games, role-playing games and dice, war games, miniatures and paints, card games, and more. Going on 25 years now. Our rustic castle contains more game and hobby goodness than you can shake a stick at. Complete with careful packaging and the finest customer service the land can provide. You can buy, sell, trade from anywhere in the world, just like nature intended. Noble Knight Games.
About the experience that you have. Philip, we didn't stop talking when the ad was playing. I care more about the experience of playing a game than I do about necessarily the winning and the losing and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Which is, has made a couple people mad at me from time to time. Trying to just see if any of them are in this room at this moment. Maybe. But there's a mall like, I don't know, half a mile down the street where it has tons of options for food and shopping and all that jazz. But Sheetz is right next door. So we're all eating gas station food for the entire week. And I will have news on this. There was some stuff happened. Not bad stuff, but part of the process stuff happened last week, and there is more stuff that has to happen, and that will be happening next week. So there will be news on this. More news. So, all right, Chris. Yep, just started setting up the third winter. I have had a really good time with. Have you played that third winter?
A little bit. Some of the smaller scenarios.
Yeah,
I've got
it's
it.
good.
It's gorgeous. I want to get into the bigger stuff, but my tables are occupied.
Yeah. This is kind of true. Yeah, this is kind of true. And Sheetz does have caffeinated milkshakes. So, and I think they do caffeinated smoothies too. But I haven't had any of those. So, this was what I was talking about. And Brant's right though. It is. I mean,
yeah, it's more like fast.
Yeah, it's more like fast food quality food, right? It's not. It's not the Ritz, right? You're not eating.
It's not like the Wheel of Death or something. It's
right.
It's made to order.
Those strange shriveled up hot dogs that have been rolling on that roller for the last month.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's better than that. So that's good. So it might surprise you. It surprises me.
It surprised
actually.
me. Yeah.
So then again, I drive past Sheetz every week, so I stop at Sheetz almost every week because the timing works out. So I've eaten a fair amount of Sheetz. So maybe I don't know. I've never eaten at Buc-ee's, so I couldn't tell you anything.
It's a lot smaller than a Buc-ee's, but similar concept maybe, but not quite on a Texas scale.
Yeah. Hey, coffee, don't sneer at coffee truck. I had the best coffee of my entire life off a Cuban coffee truck in Miami.
Well, yeah.
And
sure.
man, the Cubans know their coffee. So Sheets does look their like their branding does look a lot like Speedway. That is absolutely true. When's Inflection Point coming out? I think Carl might still be here. It might be out by this year. Do you plan to do any video for Inflection Point?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
So
Yep.
I expect really good things out of Inflection Point. So I am. This is the kind of thing I will not get at a gas station.
Yeah.
Even a above average food gas station like Sheets. No, thank you. I've never been in a Buc-ee's. I'm not sure I've been in near a Buc-ee's at any point. I can't tell you. Interesting. I don't know what the differences. Alistair's asking about the differences between the first and subsequent printings of Fallen Eagles 1815 from Hexasim, designer Walter Vodovsky, if I'm not mistaken. I have a later printing of it. In fact, I think I have the most recent printing of it, so I can't tell you what the differences are. I can tell you that there are some differences. I know that, but I don't know how big.
No,
yeah.
that one I'm
Okay.
not familiar with.
Okay. Game's supposed to be good, though. There you go. Okay, so Carl has updated us. Carl is the honcho over this series, being printed soon, finalizing the material with the printer. So if it goes to the printer sometime in the next month or two, then we should see it by mid-year, right?
Summer,
I would think.
yeah, hopefully, yeah.
So I'm cool with that. Although,
we know a July release would be appropriate for it, considering it's the July-August battles in the Donban.
That's true.
And the December battle.
That's true. July would be perfect. Hanser Kampfwagen 5 says that the map is different. That's a pretty big difference. So, you know what? Yes. No, I do remember hearing this because the second version redid the map to match the color schemes of the other games in the series. There's a Quattrobra game, there's a WoW game, there's a Lini game, or is it WoW? I forget. And there's an Austerlitz game. You're not the only person to say that I've ever heard this from James Whitmer, who prefers the original map over the redone map. That said, I do like the maps that I've seen. So there's that. So Mike Reed gives us a little more detail on that. First printing had a tan map. Later printing melds with the later map work. I want to say Rick Barber did the map cartography for that game, but not the actual map art. I think I'm remembering that correctly. And it is a series of games. I think that series is moving, I think, to Sound of Drums or Nuts. I forget which. But I believe that series is moving. I don't know why, but apparently it is. I'm pretty pleased with the stuff that I've got from Hexasim, to be completely honest. So I have no particular complaints. But I'm also pretty pleased with the stuff I've got from Nuts Publishing, which I think is only 2 or maybe 3 items, but I like what I've got. Well, apparently it sounds like no, not really. Just download the new rules and you at least be able to get through it. So I personally would be comfortable with that. Again, for me, I appreciate that, people want to have a high fidelity experience. But to me, it's the experience that's the interesting part, right? It's experiencing the history and the dynamic model of the history, right? Which is a thing that you aren't going to get by watching a movie or reading a book or whatever else it is that you're doing. So, Fellowship of Gamers, yeah, Fellowship of. Oh, you're right, absolutely. Mike Reed is right. It is moving to Fellowship of Simulations. I don't think I have anything from them. I could be wrong, but I don't think I do. Jonathan Dyer has chimed in that as well. Oh, cool. I haven't played it yet. I would love to try this. It was on a table at SD HistCon. I think there was one game of it. I've seen it at WBC and I've seen it at Origins. On tables getting played. So there is play of this game happening. Was that Verdun Steel Inferno? Is that the game we're talking about here? Napoleon's Conquests I've heard of, but I know essentially nothing about. There is a bit of an autofocusing problem. I don't know if it's the microphone or not, but apparently Doug is in focus. I'm not in focus.
I think you're in focus and I'm out of focus. I'm in focus. You're out of focus.
That could be. I have heard there was a GDW game called 1815, which I believe was just Waterloo, but I could be wrong about that. So, and I guess we are right that was the Verdun game that I'm talking about. It was very well received. 2021, 2022, something like that. Vlad C. A couple of friends are planning to play Crisis Sinai from GMT. Was the Crisis series? Yes, actually, sort of. So, Crisis Korea 1995 was the progenitor of the series. It's a Gene Billingsley design. And it was one of the pretty early releases that GMT Games did. After some amount of time, Mitch Land kind of took that system and turned it into Next War Korea, and then that has spawned an entire series of, I want to say, 6 games now, which is another thing that we didn't mention is on a table. Next War Iran is right over here.
Yep.
So I'm not sure they're playing it yet, but there you go. So they're doing it here as well. And we've seen that on tables at Buckeye Game Fest as well.
Yep.
So yes, actually, this series has been updated. All right, Brent, thanks for stopping by. Mike Reed says the GDW Waterloo is a mess. I have no idea. Adam Misnick, thanks for stopping by. He says this was equivalent to Napoleon's Last Battles in scope. Yeah, but was it just Waterloo or is it like the whole campaign? Because you could play it either way if you had Napoleon's Last Battles. That is my question. Ooh, 20. That's a good question. Nathan Landrum, thank you for this question. Any 2025 releases in particular that I guess aren't out already that you're super duper pumped about, other than Inflection Point?
Yeah, the No Turning Back.
Turning Back.
Line of Battle, Wilderness.
Yep. That's going to be awesome.
Looking forward to the new addition to that series. I've got, there should be some stuff coming out. I know I've got a ton of stuff on pre-order. But No Turning Back. Inflection Point, obviously, we talked about that. Mm-hmm. Those are probably top 2 right now.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to.
Okay. Yeah, I think for me, I'm actually pretty interested in seeing the new Battle for Normandy from GMT, which ought to be coming out very soon. I'm very interested in Congress of Vienna, which ought to be arriving anytime. Should be, anyway. From MMP Inflection Point, No Turning Back. We should see By Swords and Bayonets very soon. Yeah. Very much looking forward to that. And the 3rd and final expansion for Space Empires. Well, all of that will be out soonish in the next few months, I suppose. Mike Reed does mention if you have Crisis Sinai, you might need one of the early C3Is. Although you can, if you need the old C3I errata counters, you can post on BGG in the game forums, and chances are not bad somebody will either have them and send them to you or sell them to you for a reasonable price. Adam Misnick mentions that GDW's 1815 is the whole campaign, which is interesting. Yeah, there you go. Mike Reed mentions Nuts 2nd edition of Urban Operations. I haven't played the first one. The ASL Pony thing, which has been in the cooker for a long time. And Inflection Point, very good. Well, I think now what I can't tell you is to what extent Crisis Sinai is like a stepping point between Crisis Korea and the Next War series, because I've never looked at either Crisis Korea or Crisis Sinai. So, whereas I do have 4 or 5 of the Next War games. And my opinion of the Next War games is solid. I think they're solid games. your mileage on the individual topics might be might inform which of them you're most interested in. It certainly does for me. So, so do you got what else do we got? Jeff Beeler says AT-15 was an area move game based on the House Divided system. I'll have to take your word for this. Actually, I'm not sure where it went, but there were some people playing a House Divided here earlier as well. We've done actually a really terrible job of telling people what's on tables.
Well, I was just going to say, speaking of how's that, there's the U.S. Civil War GMT.
That's true. That just got erected a couple hours ago.
Yep. That's going to break out. And did you mention Labatai Leipzig?
So yeah,
Pratzen, is that?
Yeah. So Labatai. Oh, and there's a GMT North Africa 41 is on the table here as well. And the 40 expansion will be out pretty soon. So Labatai to Leipzig. I made the assumption that this was going to be the Marshall Enterprises one. And Marshall Enterprises was actually here on Friday and Saturday and yesterday doing Labatai to ECMO. But this is the other series that has Labatai in the game titles. But it is the Viva l'Empereur series from, in this case, Pratzen Editions. Although Legion War Games has done a couple in that series as well. The designer is Didier Rouy. And it looks like a pretty interesting system. It is demi-brigade scale, I believe, which is an interesting choice. Don't have a lot of that. All right, so, okay. So Pretty Sabian says that Sinai came out before Korea, and the original Crisis Korea is the standardized format of the Next War system. Okay, there you go. So it sounds like it was Crisis Korea 1995 was actually the stepping stone to Next War rather than Crisis Sinai. I did not know that, however. So, and again, my very first, this is not actually true. I don't have a lot of 73 October War games. I've got Valley of Tears and October War, and that's it. So this is not a topic I know much about. And what I know about it is I learned from watching videos on Valley of Tears. So there you go. And okay, this is interesting. Yeah. So Mike Reed says the Crisis Korea was a Gene Billingsley design, but Sinai was John Prados. Shares DNA, but different enough to not be a series. So there you go. I'm pretty sure I didn't know that John Prados had done the Crisis Sinai either, to be completely honest. So, and there is a GDW 1815 and a different game that is Waterloo from GDW. So exactly which game is the hex encounter and which game is the point to point, I couldn't tell you, or area or whatever it was. We hear this a lot. I mean, well, I guess let me be more specific. So, like, hot war in the Middle East seems to be a topic that maybe designers are not incredibly eager to jump on given current events, right? Whether that's true, to what extent that's true, I'm not sure I can tell you. To what extent that should be true, I'm not sure I can tell you that either. So, however, we have not seen that many games like that. So that ought to tell us something, despite the ongoing current events, right? So I feel like there's been like just a ton of miscellaneous news over the last 2 days has popped up. Like all this MMP stuff is like, what? Where's this coming from? So clearly not on any of the social media channels I was paying attention to this week. So copying 100 gigabytes of data from a USB attached spinning disk to a USB thumb drive is not fast. I agree, but I'm not positive what this is in reaction to, Alistair. So there's that. No, the ASL Roundtable, like a bunch of that news came out of the ASL Roundtable. I know that. I just haven't had like an hour or whatever, however long it is, to sit down and watch that thing. So, because it's not the kind of thing I could just like have in the background while I'm doing my chit poll, right? And I know we talked about doing another turn tonight, but I'm not positive that's happening.
They're driving on. It looks like there's some active stuff. I actually there was the 91st Division chick came out, so
okay.
So, folks, in our GTS game, Gary's 101st. I'm basically in charge of the northern sector of the Germans. So that's the 709th Infantry and one of the formations of 91st Kampfgruppe Beigang. So they needed me to. My two fellow Germans are holding the west and the south. So they weren't sure what I was doing. I don't know how much help I was to them because I'm not sure how much I know what I'm doing. But
I can verify that I do not, in fact, know what I'm doing. So, just in case anybody was not clear on that, that is the truth of it. So there you go. There you go. Makes complete sense to me. I've had a lot of trouble transferring files from USB lately for some reason, but perhaps I should investigate alternative solutions. I'm going to have an awful lot of ASL counters clipped after tonight, though. I can tell you that. Danny Secretary says the ASL roundtable is 1 hour and 17 minutes, which is not that long. I just haven't had a loose hour and 17 minutes. You know what I'm saying? So I'm all pleased with myself for remembering to call my wife today. So since I didn't yesterday, and I heard about it when I got home. So, okay. So Jeff says 1815, the Waterloo campaign, 1975 was Hex Encounter. No, I'm having fun. I'm having fun. Like I said, I think it's a good experience. It does, of course, reinforce the fact that I ought to play this more, this specific game series more. But I mean, I knew that going in. So
yeah, you know, Danny, I have found over the years that many times the most fun I've had playing a game is the very first time I've sat down and played it. So without really knowing necessarily the rules or the situation in great detail and just going at it, those have tended to be the most, like I said, the most fun.
Yeah. Christoph, games we play over there are from people who bring them along with them. I mean, yeah. Last year we played with my copy of On to Richmond, and this year we're playing with Mike's copy of Utah Beach. Whoever's got it will bring it. I mean, in this case, yep. I've got it. You've got it. Mike's got it.
We had like
so I think we all have
5 copies we could have chosen from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's on. This is on YouTube somewhere. I can't tell you what channel it exactly appeared on, though. Do you know?
I have seen not live, but I've seen rebroadcasts of them on YouTube. So if you maybe searched YouTube,
okay, I tell you what.
There's
after the show. There's Cardboard Commander has a summary of what was discussed in the roundtable. So go there and watch the summary, and then if you want to watch the whole thing, be my guest. And I'm positive Cardboard. Well, not positive, but I would think Cardboard Commander has a link to that. So I would check that. ASL Academy. There we go. That's a completely logical place.
Yep.
But it's not like it's not like they're the only ASL channel either.
Right.
So.
Right.
So I mean, this is totally true, and I am positive that Cross of Iron will appear on the big screen here at Winterfest at some point this week.
It's already.
Has it?
Yeah.
Already?
Yeah. Last night. So we got Cross of Iron. We've had. Yeah. Cross of Iron.
Gettysburg yet?
No Gettysburg, but World of War. A couple of episodes.
Yeah,
of
a couple of
World
episodes of World of War.
I think you ran through today's movies already. So.
I think so.
Fury. You said Fury.
I said Fury.
Yep.
Fury Downfall.
Yep.
You got to meet the gates. Whatever this is. This is the
still
Patriot.
Yeah. I think it was starting just
as I've seen worse movies, but it's like clearly Braveheart with tricorn hats, right? And as such, it's pretty flat. And again, you know, if you really want to see Heath Ledger movies, there you go. So there's that. So the year we actually mentioned this earlier, Perfidious Albion, the year where we had the 2 huge GTS Market Garden games playing simultaneously, I think A Bridge Too Far got played 6 times that weekend, that week. So it'll show up this week.
Zulu was on the other day.
I missed Zulu too.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Zulu. I think that was maybe Friday night.
That could have been.
You may have had to.
That could have been. Well, I left. The earliest I left was actually yesterday. I left at about because I'm commuting home. All right, so it seemed to make sense when I made that decision. In retrospect, that was a fucking stupid thing to do, and we will not be doing that next year. This has proved to be a titanic pain in the butt pipe. So not again. It would be way easier, just like top to bottom to have just stayed here, been able to stagger upstairs and crash, and be able to be down here until 10 or 11 every night, and be down here in the morning because I wake up at 7 o'clock. That's no problem. If I'm sleeping in, come down, eat breakfast. I eat in 5 minutes, and then I'm ready to. I get some coffee, and I'm ready to go. I'm good. And in this case, it's been traffic hassles not traffic, but road condition hassles getting in here. Roads are okay now, so there's that. This is a good call. Good call. Cross of Iron will make it if it hasn't already. And everybody should shut bayonets when the bayonet scene happens. That totally happens. And I just missed it. Here we go. Mike Reed mentions Barry Lyndon. Yeah, that is a fantastic movie, by the way.
I love that. I love that battle scene.
Yeah, no, it's a cool battle. So you talk about the one with where it's the British versus some random French guys. Yeah, that's a terrific scene. And the whole movie's good. It's beautifully
gorgeous
shot.
Gorgeous looking movie.
So just a terrific, highly underrated and underseen Stanley Kubrick film. Actually, when I was on my big Stanley Kubrick kick, I saw really all of them except for Paths of Glory, which I still haven't seen, which I realize is it makes me an asshole. So there's that. I would love to come to Montreal. So have you been to Montreal?
I have been. Yep.
Yeah. So there you go.
Very pretty city.
I hear it's nice. I hear the meat is good. Montreal meat. I don't know, but if somebody puts this on, I'm going over to Sheets and I'm buying whatever produce is available, and then I am throwing it at whoever put Ridley Scott's Napoleon on.
I don't think anyone here is foolish enough to even try to put that on here.
I'm hoping not. I'm hoping not. So Dave mentions that Waterloo with Rod Steiger was on Saturday.
Yes, that was the one I was trying to think of.
Excellent. This is one that shows up every year as well.
Yep.
I think cinematically, I think it's got its issues, but like as a wargamer movie, it's fantastic.
It's so quotable. Quotable. Like A Bridge Too Far, yeah. And the casting was phenomenal.
Well,
Napoleon
casting and Wellington,
excellent older, but Christopher Plummer
and the
Napoleon,
dude they got to play, I forget his name. The dude they got to play Ney,
looks
just like Ney, and the dude they got to play Blucher is pretty good too. But neither of those individuals have much screen time.
Plummer is Wellington, man.
That's kind of a perfect piece, and Rod Steiger too. He was perfect piece of casting,
and and had Steiger for later older Napoleon.
Oh, this I need to see this. I think this is available somewhere on streaming. French television series of Napoleon. Was this the one with Gerard Depardieu? Perhaps. I forget. Oh, that reminds me. I'm trying to remember where I saw it. The guy that played Talleyrand in Ridley Scott's Napoleon, which is one of the better parts, smaller parts in the movie, showed up somewhere else, and now I can't remember where that was. I saw him in something else. So this is absolutely right. Stanley Kubrick had been working in development on a Napoleon film, and when the Bondarchuk Waterloo did not perform well in theaters, at least here in the U.S., studio interest in that evaporated, and Steven Spielberg has talked about finishing it, but we'll see. Yeah, if he does, I'll be happy to check it out. It can't be.
It won't be worse than Ridley
It would be
Scott's.
difficult to exceed the shit level of Ridley Scott's Napoleon. And I know that some people liked it. I appreciate that they liked it, but I think it is bad history. But more importantly, I think it's a terrible film. Yeah. So with a lot of bad performances, I thought Joaquin Phoenix was awful in it.
Yeah, I like him as an actor. He's a talented actor. But
Vanessa Kirby is very good as Josephine. I thought so. I was so excited too. I was so disappointed. I was looking at the cast list on IMDb and the cast of food. This is gonna be awesome. No, he's like a dude standing in the background twice in the movie. That's it. I don't think he has a single line. So, I mean, we love this movie. Oh, this is one that we don't see
Yeah, I
every
know.
year, and we
I'm a little
really
surprised. Yeah,
should.
yeah.
We really should see this more
Yep.
often here.
But I like, for my money, I think it's the Light Horseman, the cavalry charge in that. So the Light Horseman is World War One.
Oh,
no, the film, The Light Horseman.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah,
No.
it's like Palestine, World War One. They
Okay.
do. I think that's the movie with the cavalry charge I'm thinking of. It's one of the better ones I think I've seen on film.
Mhm.
But it's like, you're not familiar with the movie.
Nope.
But at least it's been a while since I've seen it. But that's one I wouldn't mind seeing again.
Mhm. Blue Steel mentions HBO's Rome, which I assume you've seen.
Oh, yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
No, the second season is like the movie. It was like a co-production between HBO and somebody else. I forget who. And it was very expensive to produce. So they basically, instead of doing a second and third seasons, they combined all of that material into a second season, and that's why that second season feels super rushed. It's still good, but it feels rushed.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, the first season is great. I've seen like a little bit of the sharp stuff. I probably should see more of it, but I should read the books too. So there's that.
Books, yeah, I'd recommend the books. The series with Sean Bean, its production value is not quite what I would have hoped it to be,
Well,
but
it's like mid-90s British TV. I mean, what do you want?
Yeah.
So their costume department is outstanding. However, I have to say that, and the Duelist is great.
Yes.
The Duelist is a terrific movie, and
which makes the recent Napoleon movie that
Even
much
more
more
disappointing.
confounding. It's
Yeah.
like, how can you make a
What are you
Napoleonic
doing?
film like The Duelist and then
Right.
come along and make
right.
his Napoleon?
Sycophants is the answer. You hired sycophants who just said yes
Devil's
to
Brigade.
everything that you said.
I have seen the Devil's Brigade here, I think, in past years, not so far this year.
Not this year.
No.
It has popped up here in the past. Yeah. Kelly's Heroes is another
Oh,
one that pops
yeah.
up every year,
Yeah.
which you can imagine. It's another one of those things that's, I don't know how well regarded as cinematically it is, but boy, it's a great wargamer movie. I'll tell you that. Okay, yeah, this is the thing I was thinking of, where Gerard Depardieu plays Fouché, which is an interesting piece of casting, I would say. Dan O'Herlihy is the dude who played Ney in Waterloo. Yeah, and he was in The Last Starfighter as Grig. I don't remember who Grig was.
He's
in The Last Starfighter.
the alien that flies with the Last Starfighter. He sort of takes him under his wing.
Oh, okay.
The scaly.
Okay, yeah. Now I know, like his buddy, the other pilot buddy.
Yeah.
Okay, and not Robert Preston.
Right.
Right,
No,
okay.
not the recruiter, but
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, the
We Were
pilot.
Soldiers is good. That is a movie that usually shows up here as well. So
Yep.
like all week there'll be more movies playing on the big screen. It's kind of awesome.
Pretty much,
actually.
yeah, it is. It's great. There's some couches brought in which are super comfortable. So
Mhm.
if you need a break from the table, you just wander over there, grab a seat, and there's
Yeah.
always something playing. We got probably 5 or 6 movies a day, and just going.
Yeah, we've got.
There
Sorry,
you go.
we're
a little bit.
we got some real.
There you go,
half-assed
there you go,
camera work
there you
going
go.
on here, folks. So that is the lounge area, and as you can see, there are in fact 4 couches sitting there. Hopefully,
Yep, you're a little bit that way.
are we
Using
tilted?
some Dutch angles. That's you're good.
Oh, I feel like John Frankenheimer now. Hold on a second.
Up and to the right, maybe. There we go.
That is
Yes.
actually
There
the
you
problem.
go. There you go.
I brought the shitty tripod and not the better tripod. So because this one fits in the bag and weighs 3 pounds less. So that's why. Bridge on the River Kwai. That has I don't feel like that gets shown every year here, but it has absolutely been seen.
I've seen it at least a couple years since I've been coming.
Mhm.
And yeah, no, that's another great one.
All right, Cosmocraft Magnet 5 says that Light Horseman is good.
Yep.
Adam Misnick says it features the charge at Beersheba.
Beersheba, yep.
1917.
1917, yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, when is the movie from?
Well, I think it came out in the late 80s, maybe the
Okay,
early 90s,
okay.
I think.
Sean Sullivan says it's awesome.
I'm going to do some real-time history.
Mike
Let's see.
Reed says it's good. Yeah, I mean, this in and of itself is fine too. I mean, I expect the movie to have an opinion, but the opinion that the movie showed me was that Napoleon was an awful lot like Joaquin Phoenix with his head in his own ass. So I really didn't appreciate that as a thematic element in the film. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
The historical inaccuracies, I think. I mean, it's always good that when it's accurate, but we've seen how many historical films have we seen that are great movies, but who cares whether the history's accurate or not? I mean, Braveheart is a perfect example.
They all take
right?
liberties to some extent,
Sure,
but
Gladiator.
usually in the service of excellent narrative, right? An enjoyable,
Yeah.
functional movie. I thought Napoleon didn't work just as a movie.
Yeah,
And then you can start talking about all the historical inaccuracies.
yeah. Oh,
as
look at
well,
this. Jonathan Dyer's grandfather missed Gallipoli, but rode in the light horse charge at Beersheba.
Very
Beersheba.
cool. Beersheba, yeah,
that's
very
amazing.
cool. The Light Horseman, 1987.
Okay. Who was in it?
Stars Peter Phelps, Nick Waters, and John Larking. Director Simon Windsor. Written by Ian Jones.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's a nice looking film. I would, if you haven't, many of you have seen it, but for those of you who haven't, it's worth finding.
The Man Who Would Be King, of course, is a classic too.
Love that movie.
So that's a great, based on a Rudyard Kipling story, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
It's a great movie. And that's popped up here too, once or twice, maybe more than that. I think I did know that they did a lot of the filming of the Sharp stuff in Crimea. Guess that won't be getting a new season anytime soon. Sink to Bismarck, God, I'm not sure I've even seen that. If I have, it was when I was a kid.
Yeah, that's a classic going back a ways.
Yeah. Rise of Empires. Is this the one that's like sort of a semi-documentary thing? Because if that's what we're talking about, I watched like an episode of that and was like, it's fine. But maybe we're talking about something different. Or maybe I was in a bad mood that day. That's possible.
I haven't had Netflix for 4 or 5 years now. So
This this is true, but you only know that because it's a series. So, this might be interesting. Phil Postlethwaite has played his share. Well, did he? The late Phil Postlethwaite played his share of villains. He was
he was good in the Sharp series.
Well, he was in The Usual Suspects. He was in Braveheart.
Yes.
So
yeah. No.
Another one I don't see, I don't remember us seeing very often here is
TAC 4C.
Well, there's that, but I was thinking the Guns of Navarone actually, or Force 10 from Navarone with Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
So, and that's not a bad movie actually.
So it's Harrison Ford, and you've got
I don't even remember.
He was the Jackal in Day of the Jackal. He was
Edward Fox.
Edward Fox. Thank you. Yes.
Okay.
Great role for him, and the guy who, the other Brit, Robert Shaw.
Oh, okay.
Right? Yeah, no, that
okay,
from
now I remember Robert Shaw.
Fun movie.
I'm not sure I remember Edward Fox, but I've
Catherine Bach.
I've liked Edward Fox so much in so many films that I might be confused. Yeah, he was great in The Bounty. So it's a very small part. He's like on the Admiralty board, but he's very good in Gandhi.
So I was going to say, speaking of small parts,
his
role in
small
Gandhi,
but critical, actually. So Vlad C asked about Gladiator 2. So my have you seen it?
No.
Okay, so it's on one of the streaming set things now. I don't know which one it is, but I like queued it up and I actually started watching the opening, and then I said, I'm not ready for this. And I turned it off with every intention of checking it out again at some point, but I was like not prepared for it that particular night. And we watched something else instead. And I forget what it was, but it was some kind of dumb comedy, and it was much better for where I was at that night. Regal's Dare with Clint Eastwood and Richard Burton. Yeah, good call on that.
Yep.
I've never seen Tobruk. I've never seen any of these, actually.
Tobruk, is that the one with Rock Hudson, and at the end they're blowing up the oil tanks and dumping all the oil into the Mediterranean? I think it's 1960s. I don't recognize Radon Rommel.
Yeah, blowing up the oil tanks reminds me, of course, of the Battle of the Bulge with that thing at the end. But I didn't know this either, actually.
Okay.
So less John Frankenheimer, more John Winters. Perhaps you meant to say John Waters. I'm definitely not prepared to do that. The Great Escape's a great movie.
Yes.
So that's a great. I mean, we're all nobody's really arguing about it. I've yet to see a fist fight break out over.
You know, it's
although Rings of Power might do it.
Yeah,
I'm
that
thinking
would
about
definitely do it. But it's kind of like the jukebox, you know, in the Pizza Hut back in the days.
Yeah.
Like whoever happens to wander over, if nothing's playing, they'll throw something in there.
Probably the best. Now, not having seen the Light Horseman,
Yes,
I do think that the greatest on-screen cavalry charge I have ever seen by a lot is the one from Waterloo. The Scots Craze, when they like literally recreate the friggin' painting.
Yeah, that shot of the painting of the Scots Craze.
It's really cool.
For an historically accurate portrayal of a cavalry charge, I'm going to go with the Light Horseman charge there, where the 200 horses they used. It's impressive. It's well before the day of CGI.
Yeah. Did they made this Crossfire 2? Did I know this? I may have known this. I've never seen this. If this even exists. Okay. Is this one of those sequels that we deny the existence of, like Highlander 2 that never got made? Exactly. The remake in Highlander with Henry Cavill?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, fine. It's fine. It's fine. I need to see more of this stuff. But again, I need to read the books too. And the Bernard Cornwell's done like a ton of stuff that I want to read and I just have never gotten to any of it. Breaker Morant with Edward Woodward.
Yeah, wow. I was thinking about that. When I brought up the Light Horseman, it because it's around this. It was made around the same time frame, like 86, something like that, 85 mid-80s. But nice. That's Boer War. Have you seen Breaker Morant?
No.
Yeah, based on a true story.
Okay.
It's I won't spoil it for you, but that's a
okay.
It's a good one.
Worth a shot. Worth a shot.
Yeah.
Pretty Albion mentions young Winston. I actually have seen this. It's been a while. But I have seen this as the very young Winston Churchill when he was like a man of action and not a fat old alcoholic. So there was an interview with somebody about Churchill and his alcohol consumption. And the word used, the exact phrasing was that Churchill had a rhinocerine capacity for alcohol. And I was like, wow, what a fantastic word. I will be using that. So, and the other one is there's a whiskey channel. I watch whiskey channels from time to time. There's a whiskey channel that tried to recreate a day in the life of Churchill, where they like did the Churchill lifestyle, where they like got up immediately in the morning, started drinking whiskey and soda, had like cocktails for lunch, took a 2-hour nap in the afternoon. And these guys are a whiskey channel. They are like professional whiskey people. And by about 2 p.m., these guys were done. They could not cut it when it came to keeping up with Winston Churchill. So I'm not the world's biggest. You've seen Thin Red Line. What do you think of that film? I think it's a beautifully shot film.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous looking.
But it's cinematography. It's a turgidly paced film too.
Yeah, it was a little slow.
Yeah,
a little slow.
There's a lot of wandering through the fields of grain, and your hands are flowing through the grain. And it's. I feel like there's at least a half an hour of that movie of those shots.
Yeah.
It's got like a great cast, all-star cast, all that stuff. So, the Wind and the Lion, good call on that. Now, another thing that we've seen here is that that miniseries, a Teddy Roosevelt miniseries, The Rough Riders, that got played last year and I think the year before with Tom Berenger as Roosevelt and Gary Busey as Joe Wheeler, which is a kind of a brilliant piece of casting itself, actually. Pretty interesting. Greyhound was good. Greyhound, I assume you've seen that, right?
Funny thing. Yeah. So Apple TV Plus watch. I've got about 15 minutes to go and just watch. It was okay. It was okay. I've got a personal hang up. I got a personal hang up with like CGI and a lot of stuff. I'm much practical, but I understand the costs and everything, but it's okay. I think the book's probably, I'm interested in reading the book actually. Because I like Forrester stuff, but so I'll definitely read the book.
I'm not sure I've ever seen us play cartoon here either. That would be a good choice actually with Charlton Heston and Lawrence Olivier as the Mahdi. All that stuff.
Lawrence of Arabia. I think I've seen that here, haven't I?
Pretty sure you have. Tora. We've definitely seen here several times, at least. That's a classic movie. Dam Busters. I'm sure it's been shown. I can't recall exactly when. Jeff, I assume we're talking about Gladiator 2 here. I don't know, man. I'm so let down by the Napoleon film that I'll watch it sooner or later.
from what
I
I've
want to
seen-
see it for the cast alone, but
From what I've seen of Gladiator 2, it's too soon.
Yeah,
You're gonna
is it
want
too
to avoid.
soon?
You need to be
Okay.
in that right frame of mind.
all right. Perhaps it's my retirement film. I will play it while watch. We did mention John is here. He is the
Yeah.
world's biggest fan of Rings of Power, as you know. Hold on, he's going to leap across the table at me.
Throwing anything in your
He's
direction.
tackled right off the table. So there's that. But no, we're having a great time here at Winterfest once again. And unlike the old location, which we have great fondness for, right? In Sandusky, Ohio, we have room to grow here. So if you want to come and, know what you're coming for, but I really wish this would have been like 10 movies. Master Commander. With that cast, totally, I would 100% have been all over that. Terrific movie. Crossfire and 2, Steer Clear. Yeah, no kidding. Von Ryan's Express. I've never seen that.
Oh, you haven't?
No, I
With
don't
Frank
think so.
Sinatra?
No, I don't think so.
Yes,
No.
it's-
I should probably see that.
I
Now, I
think they
did
are half-inch
see
counters, but I
the
clicked them.
recent
They're-
Midway
they're-
film with
But not
whoever
half-inch
was in it.
counters.
Woody Harrelson was Nimitz,
to-
I believe. And actually, he's a pretty good choice for Nimitz. Dennis Quaid was Halsey. Not my first choice for Halsey, but, I'll take it. It was okay. If you really want to see CGI Dauntlesses dive bomb and Japanese ships, that's your movie. You're going to see a lot of that in that movie.
See, I'll take the 76, 75 with Charlton Heston, Eric Estrada, because I would rather see actual, even though it's horribly wrong historical footage, take the shots of the Vindicator dive bombers going in, watch that 7 or 8 times over rather than the computerized stuff we see today.
So Mike Reed, I'll tell you what, I'm aware of this film. I would like to watch it, but I kind of like to read War and Peace, the book first, to be honest, which I have not done. It's a bit of a project. Then again, I don't know if it's harder than what I'm reading right now. So there's that. Estonian film, 1944.
That's been played here. Last year. Yeah.
Excellent.
I don't know if it's a regular in the rotation yet, but I did see that here last year.
Yeah. You know what else is pretty good is the German film Stalingrad.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good movie. We actually saw that at the Cleveland Cinematheque.
Early 90s, I think.
Something like that. Yeah, mid 90s maybe. Something like. Well, it might have come out in that then, but I saw it like mid to late 90s at Cleveland Cinematheque. So
Battle of Britain's every year.
Battle of Britain. There you go. There you go. Yep. Stigler, of course, is a huge fan of the Thin Red Line. We hated it too. I didn't like it either. So, okay, sure. Yeah. Well, you know what? If they're going to do this, though, do a game on the whatever it was called, the wargaming that they did, that the British did to solve the Wolfpack problem.
Yeah.
That's I can't remember the name of the group that did it. But this was talked about on social media not that long ago. It's a fascinating topic, actually.
That would be something similar to the Imitation Game.
Western Approaches.
Yep.
Western Approaches Tactical Group or something like that. That was the group of mostly female analysts that basically wargamed that situation out until they cracked the problem. So, how many years have I attended? This is what, your 4th or 5th, something like 6th, maybe, something like that.
4th or 5th.
I'm at like 10 or 11, something like that. This is like the 27th Winterfest, something like that.
Yeah.
So I like Tom Berenger as Longstreet. His beard is less good, but what do you want? Wasn't that they didn't spend that much on the facial hair? Oh God. Yes, I agree.
Better than Pearl Harbor? Sure.
Pearl Harbor was a shitball. That is a terrible movie top to bottom. It's terribly paced. It looks bad. The performances are mostly wooden and awful. I feel I'm embarrassed for the sake of the fine people that worked on that film that's what came out at the end. It is not a great movie. Carl says the 2019 Midway was surprised. Well, it's better than Pearl Harbor. Yeah. So, Eric Estrada, wow. My father-in-law looks just like Eric Estrada.
Yeah, Eric Estrada played one of the fighter pilots on Enterprise, I think, in the old in the 70s Midway film. He was he's the one whose head got itchy every time the Japanese were nearby.
Now, of course, if we were playing Wolfpack, we would have Dust Boat on the and possibly a variety of other submarine movies. Run Silent, Run Deep's not bad. It's no Dust Boat, but what is
No,
really? That's that's an
Yep.
amazing film. They redid it apparently, or
They made
rebooted it as
a
like a series.
TV series out of it, but I heard it wasn't very good.
I have not seen the remake. Yeah, I mean that's kind of what the movie was about, wasn't it? Let's get the prettiest people we can find to be in this gritty World War II movie, and then it wasn't a gritty World War II movie, was it? I mean, they literally hired Kate Beckinsale, and then they had the makeup team had to make her homelier because she was too attractive to be believable in the film.
Was it was Josh Hartnett? Was he in Heart's War with Bruce Willis? Was that him?
I don't know. I don't remember. I try not to think of Josh Hartnett if I can avoid it. To be frank, I kind of want to see this. Actually, I would assume we're talking about the one with Tommy Lee Jones as MacArthur. It actually looks intriguing from the clips I've seen on social media. Dunkirk's pretty good. I will say, I understand why, from like a pacing and story structure perspective, some people bounced off of Dunkirk. You did? Okay. Well, I liked it. I thought it was good, but it is a very unconventionally structured film.
Yeah. Christopher Nolan. I don't dislike Christopher Nolan, but that film, I don't know. I had some issues with that, and 1917 too. So I was not a fan of 1917.
I have not seen 1917. I need to see that. All right, folks. Really. We have spent a lot of time talking. Black Hawk Down is awesome, by the way.
Yes.
I don't know. I can't speak to how accurate it is, but it's a great movie.
Movie's great.
And another Ridley Scott movie too.
Yes.
Right. Ridley Scott's made plenty of awesome movies, just not Napoleon. That was not a good one. Or Prometheus. I didn't like Prometheus either.
Yep.
So anyway, yeah, this was actually already on here, and it probably might get shown again at some point this week. We will see. Oh, look at that. Neil's brother was in the MacArthur movie. Wow. All right, folks, we are out of time. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. Don't forget to thumbs up the video, like the video, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to Doug's channel if you're not already. If you aren't, you're missing out. And I will be back next week, and Doug will be back.
See you, folks. I'll see you next year.
There you go. There you go.